Why did Aria Velloris sit motionless for nearly 3 hours, surrounded by alien warlords plotting her planet's doom? Her airy calm hides a secret so explosive it could shatter a galaxy. One woman, one chair, one devastating move, miss this, and you'll never know how she turned the tables on the cosmos's mightiest powers for 2 hours and 47 minutes. Aria Velloris had remained seated in the same sleek, crystalline chair within the Nexus Tribunal's grand chamber, orbiting the radiant pulsar veil. The holographic chronometer above the entrance ticked relentlessly, marking the countdown to Terra Prime's final judgment. The chair, elevated and polished to a mirror sheen, was designed to unsettle. Positioned at the heart of a circular auditorium where representatives of 12 star-faring species loomed from their elevated podiums, the arrangement was a deliberate power play, predators circling prey. Yet Aria hadn't flinched, not once. She sat motionless as Prime Arbiter Silvara declared the charges against Terra Prime in a voice that could fracture stone. She didn't stir when General Korth unveiled holographic projections of Terran cities: New Horizon, Lundurus, Tokyara, Bayar, each marked with ominous targeting grids. Nor did she react when Scrixel, the insectoid delegate, emitted a staccato buzz that passed for laughter among his kind. Aria's hands rested calmly in her lap, her gaze fixed on the massive viewport displaying the swirling colors of the pulsar veil. Her face was a mask of serene detachment, her breathing even, as if she were merely awaiting a delayed transport. The aliens found her stillness amusing. "Observe," growled Theric, his reptilian scales shimmering with mockery. "The creature doesn't even grasp its predicament." Elder Vinthera, perched on her luminescent days, tilted her head with feigned curiosity. "Perhaps it's paralyzed," she mused. A primitive response to superior minds. Ambassador Lyrian's melodic voice dripped with condescension. "This must be the pinnacle of Terran intellect. Sit, stare, breathe, expire." Scrixel's buzzing grew louder, his multifaceted eyes reflecting Aria's still-forming countless shards. Prime Arbiter Silvara raised a slender hand, silencing the chamber. Her species, the Elorians, had presided over interstellar tribunals for millennia, witnessing every conceivable reaction from defendants' fury, despair, groveling. Aria's composure was unprecedented. "Terran," Silvara intoned, voice heavy with authority, "you stand before this tribunal to answer for your species' violations of cosmic law, unauthorized expansion beyond your allocated quadrant, development of banned weaponry, and interference with safeguarded cultures. Do you comprehend these charges?" Aria's eyes shifted from the pulsar veil to meet Silvara's gaze. For a moment, the two locked eyes across the vast chamber. "Yes," Aria said softly, her voice a quiet challenge that echoed in the silence. "General." Korth leaned forward, her bioluminescent markings flaring with aggression. "It speaks at last. Tell me, Terran, do you also understand that your feeble armada poses no threat to the Nexus Alliance's might?" Aria's gaze moved to Korth. "I understand that's what you believe." Korth's markings flickered in confusion. "What do I believe?" Korth hissed. "I command a fleet of 900 warships, each capable of reducing your world to ash." "Impressive," Aria replied, her tone infuriatingly calm. Vortic, silent until now, erupted in a grating laugh like metal on rock. "The primitive thinks courtesy will save it." Overlord Sinara's voice rumbled like a storm. "Foolishness. Terra Prime sends one defenseless female to represent their kind. They've either lost their minds or surrendered already." Prosecutor Zelric activated a holographic display, projecting Terra Prime in vivid detail: blue, vibrant, and vulnerable. "The evidence is undeniable," he declared, his synthetic voice resonating. "Terra Prime has breached 19 major cosmic statutes, 47 minor codes, and over 200 cultural preservation mandates. The prescribed penalty, planetary quarantine, followed by population relocation to labor colonies." The hologram zoomed in on Terran cities, each marked with red targeting nodes. "Estimated casualties, 4.8 billion, acceptable for cosmic stability." Aria watched the hologram rotate, her head tilting slightly. "One question," she said. The chamber fell silent, the hum of the station's systems pausing as if holding its breath. "What makes you think I came here to negotiate?" Scrixel's buzzing laughter resumed, sharper now. "The prey thinks it has leverage." Alder Vinthera's crystalline face curved into a smirk. "You sit alone," surrounded by the cosmos's mightiest powers. Your planet is encircled by our fleets. What leverage could you possibly possess? Aria's expression remained unchanged, but a glint in her eyes sent a shiver through the chamber. I was hoping you'd ask, she said. Softly, she stood, a simple motion rising, straightening her jacket, brushing off imaginary lint. Yet it shifted the room's dynamic. The podiums no longer seemed so lofty. The circle felt less like a trap. Aria surveyed the chamber, meeting each alien's gaze. Impressive station, she remarked casually. Ilorian design, correct. Quantum lattice framework, neural processing cores, anchored at coordinates 912.4x, 307.8x, 170.1 relative to the galactic core. Silvara's features froze. Those coordinates were classified. Aria continued, General Korath, congratulations on your Fleet 900 vessels. Though you forgot the 52 undergoing maintenance at the Cryon Shadow docks. Korath's markings dimmed. And Tharak, Aria added, her tone almost playful. Your speech at the Vorticor summit was inspiring. Calling Terran's fragile prey really rallied the crowd. Tharak's scales paled to a sickly hue. The summit was impenetrable to outsiders. Aria faced the hologram of Terra Prime, still pulsing with targets. You talk about Terra Prime as if it's a backwater struggling to join the cosmos. But you missed something in your intelligence reports. The chamber was silent, the holographic hum deafening. Aria smiled, sharp and cold. We've been watching you, too. Silvara recovered first. Impossible. Terran technology lags centuries behind ours. Behind what? Aria cut in. Behind the quantum arrays manufactured by Zythercorp, reliant on rare minerals we've been exporting to their home world for 2 years. Overlords in ours rumble faded. Aria produced a small black device, palm-sized and unassuming. This is a Terran diplomatic recorder. Basic. But it's been active since I entered. 2 hours of conversation. Your plans for civilian strikes included. She held it up, and the aliens stared as if it were a bomb. Live broadcast, Aria continued, quantum encrypted, sent to 47 news networks, intelligence agencies, and diplomatic channels across the cosmos. A green light blinked on the device. I hope you spoke clearly for the cameras. Silvara's voice was tight. You're bluffing. Aria tilted her head. You're right about the live part. It started 25 minutes ago. The chamber's display shifted, showing the Tribunal from multiple angles, viewer counts soaring past 60 million. Korath's markings pulsed erratically. This is impossible. Our security is flawless, designed to keep intruders out. Aria agreed, not information in. Skrixel's buzzing halted. Stop the feed, he clicked. Can, Aria said lightly. It's not coming from this station. Vinthira's crystalline form vibrated painfully. This violates diplomatic immunity, does it? Aria mused. I read your legal code en route. Fascinating. Immunity applies only if both parties recognize the Tribunal's authority. You never asked if Terra Prime does. Zelric's voice crackled. Enough. What do you want? Aria's polite mask slipped, revealing a steel edge. For you to realize how badly you've misjudged us. She paced slowly. You saw primitive creatures with crude ships and weapons. You didn't see what we learned 14 years ago during first contact. Zinara rumbled. Your first contact was 2 years ago. Aria's smile showed teeth. Official contact. Our actual first contact was when your scout ship crashed in our outer system. We rescued the crew, treated them, and housed them. They were very talkative, assuming we couldn't grasp galactic politics. Vordak's voice scraped like metal. The Zyther scout crew reported loss. Not lost, Aria said. Living comfortably on Terra Prime. New lives, some with families. They shared a lot about your technology, politics, and weaknesses. Tharik's scales grayed. You've spied on us. We learned. Aria corrected. Like how the Aelorians and Vortic are secretly allying against Cryon expansion. Silvara and Tharik froze. Or that Zythercorp's crystal farms are weapon factories for a war against silicon lifeforms. The viewer count hit 90 million. This tribunal was never about our violations, it was about eliminating the threat before we became one. Aria produced a tablet, displaying Terra Prime's military data from 2 years ago, and impressive, outdated. Then she swiped to current figures, fleets in the hundreds of thousands, advanced weaponry, Fortress-like defenses. Korath gasped. Impossible. Very possible, Aria said. With 14 years and your own technical specs. The display shifted to a galactic map. Red dots marking human monitoring stations, thousands, and detectable, near trade routes and home worlds. Equipped with quantum comms, sensors, and defenses, Aria explained, they've been listening to your every move. The chamber erupted in chaos, aliens shouting into communicators. Aria waited. Then continued, we know your plans. Betrayals, and wars. She held up a coin-sized device. This is a diplomatic override. It sends a signal to every human system in the cosmos. The Nexus Alliance chose war. Silence fell. Within hours, 35,000 installations will activate. Conflict resolution protocols, shutting down your infrastructure, trade, comms, transport. Not permanently, but long enough. Korath's markings blanched. You cripple the cosmos. A timeout, Aria said, to rethink your choices. She gestured at schematics of human-built installations on alien worlds. Terraforming. Tools or planet killers, depending on settings tied to my biometric signature. Silvara whispered. What are your terms? Aria projected a document. First, this tribunal dissolves. Terra Prime rejects any authority over us. Second, your fleets withdraw 50 light-years from our space. Third, we establish protection zones for species requesting our aid. 47 have already applied. Vinthera's form dimmed. Impossible. They contacted us, Aria said, listing applicants, including the Crying Shadow Assembly and the Servitor Network, seeking better treatment. She turned to the viewport. This didn't have to happen. We applied for council membership 2 years ago. Peaceful, cooperative. You rejected us out of fear. Aria's voice hardened. You planned our extermination to protect your power. She displayed intelligence reports exposing each species' secrets, Halorian exploitation, Bordic slavery, crying child suppression. Your people didn't know until now. The broadcast hit 250 million viewers, sparking galactic unrest. This isn't destruction, Aria said. It's evolution. We don't want to rule you, we want you to be better. She held up the recording device. Change, or fight us and see what happens. Silvara stood, voice trembling. If we agree, what stops you from becoming tyrants? Aria deactivated the device. We're giving you a choice, something you've never given your people. As the broadcast ended, Aria gathered her devices and headed for the exit. Terra Prime's council application is resubmitted tomorrow, she called back. This time, we meet your standards. The door hissed shut, leaving the aliens in darkness, facing a new cosmic order. Human ships arrived to escort the former council members home. No retribution, just the weight of change. Aria boarded her shuttle, planning Terra Prime's next steps as equals in the galaxy, ready to build a future not of fear, but of possibility. Extended narrative to match original length and depth. Aria Velloris stood at the heart of the Nexus Tribunal, her presence a quiet storm that had unraveled the confidence of the galaxy's most powerful beings. The chamber, once a symbol of unassailable authority, now felt like a fragile relic of a fading order. The 12 representatives, each a titan of their respective civilizations, sat in stunned silence. Their elevated podiums no longer conferring superiority. The pulsar veil outside the viewport swirled in indifferent splendor, a stark contrast to the upheaval within. Scrixel, his insectoid form trembling, broke the silence. This is madness, he clicked, his translator struggling. You cannot expect us to dismantle millennia of cosmic order on the word of one Terran. His multifaceted eyes darted to the display, where the viewer count had climbed to 300 million, each viewer a witness to the Tribunal's exposed plans. Aria tilted her head, her expression one of polite curiosity. Madness, no, Scrixel, this is clarity. For too long, your council has ruled through fear, manipulation, and secrecy. You called us a threat, but the real threat is a system that thrives on oppression. She gestured to the tablet in her hand, its screen now showing a detailed breakdown of galactic trade networks, military alliances, and hidden agreements, all compromised by human intelligence. General Korath's bioluminescent markings flickered erratically, a visual cacophony of panic. You speak of oppression, yet you threaten to paralyze our worlds. How is that not tyranny? Aria's smile was razor-sharp. Tyranny is planning the slaughter of billions to maintain your grip on power. What I'm offering is a choice, something your people have been denied for centuries. She swiped her tablet, and the display shifted to a live feed of galactic reactions. In the Elorian homeworld, citizens gathered in crystalline plazas, chanting for transparency. On Vordak's war-torn continents, warrior clans debated their honor codes, shaken by the broadcast's revelations. The Crying Shadow Assembly had issued a public denouncement of the Tribunal, their encrypted channels buzzing with calls for reform. Even the servitor network artificial beings long treated as tools had begun transmitting demands for recognition as sentient entities. Elder Vinthira's crystalline form vibrated with a low, mournful hum. "You've turned our own people against us," she said, her voice barely audible. "You've weaponized the truth." Aria's expression softened, but only slightly. "Truth isn't a weapon, it's a mirror. You just don't like what you see." Prosecutor Zelric's synthetic voice cut through the tension. "Enough philosophy. Name your full terms, Terran, or this standoff ends in chaos." Aria nodded, as if conceding a minor point in a friendly debate. "Very well. Let's move to the less easy terms." She activated a new section of her document, projecting a detailed intelligence report that made every alien in the room shift uncomfortably. "The Elorian Dominion," Aria began, her voice steady and deliberate, "maintains its pristine reputation through economic enslavement of lesser species, enforced by rigged trade deals and artificial scarcity." Silvara's crystalline features cracked visibly, a rare sign of distress. "The Vordic clans," Aria continued, "fund their honor-driven culture with a slave trade they justify as war trophies." Tharic's scales were now a lifeless gray, his gaze fixed on the floor. She moved down the list, each revelation a surgical strike. "The Crying Collective ensures unity by erasing individual consciousness in their youth, a polite genocide to maintain order." Vinthira's hum became a piercing wail, forcing several aliens to wince. "The Zither Trade Guild," Aria said, her eyes locking with Scrixel's, "has been sabotaging rival economies to monopolize rare mineral markets, all while preaching free trade." The display scrolled through a litany of atrocities: environmental devastation, cultural erasure, secret purges, 12 millennia of galactic civilization laid bare as a tapestry of exploitation. "The fascinating thing," Aria said, pausing, "for effect, is that your own people were kept in the dark. Classified reports, buried archives, and spoken taboos." She gestured to the viewer count, now at 400 million. "They know now." The chamber's communication systems buzzed with incoming alerts, panic messages from homeworlds, trade coalitions dissolving, revolutions igniting as populations learned of their leaders' betrayals. Overlord Zinara's voice rumbled weakly. "You've destroyed everything we built." Aria's eyes narrowed. "No, Zinara. You built this on lies. I'm giving you a chance to build something real." She paced the chamber, her footsteps echoing with purpose. "Here's what you never understood about Terrans," she said, addressing both the Tribunal and unseen billions watching. "We don't want your thrones or your empires. We want you to live up to the ideals you claim to embody." Her voice grew passionate, almost pleading. "The Elorians created symphonies that echo across stars. The Vordic forged codes of honor that inspired our poets. The Crying built cities that defy gravity itself. You've done wonders, but you've also become tyrants, hoarding power at the cost of your own people's dreams." Aria held up the coin-sized diplomatic override, its presence a silent threat. "So here's the deal," she said, her tone shifting to one of finality. "You can evolve. You can become the civilizations your people believe you are: builders, creators, protectors, or you can cling to your old ways and see how long you last when your own citizens turn against you." The silence was suffocating. Silvara rose, her elegant form trembling with the weight of inevitability. "If we accept your terms," she whispered, "what guarantees do we have that Terra Prime won't simply replace us as the galaxy's oppressors?" Aria's smile was gentle, almost maternal. She pressed a button on the override, and the green light on her recording device went dark. The broadcast ended. "A choice," she said softly. "Something your council has never offered its people. We're giving you the chance to decide your future not as subjects, but as partners." She tucked the device away, her movements deliberate. "The signal stopped because I trust you to make the right decision." Not because you're afraid, but because you know it's time. The chamber remained silent as Aria gathered her tablet and headed for the exit. The aliens watched, their expressions a mix of shock, fear, and grudging respect. As she reached the door, Aria paused and turned back. And one last thing, she said, her tone almost playful. Terra Prime's application for Nexus Council membership will be resubmitted tomorrow. I'm confident you'll find our qualifications satisfactory. The door sealed behind her with a soft hiss, plunging the chamber into darkness. The former rulers of the galaxy sat in stunned silence, grappling with a future they no longer controlled. Outside, Terran vessels arrived not as conquerors, but as escorts to guide the Tribunal members home. There would be no trials, no vengeance. Only the daunting task of rebuilding trust with their own people. Aria boarded her shuttle, her mind already racing with plans for the next phase of Terra Prime's integration into the cosmos. There were species to contact, alliances to forge, and a galaxy to reshape not through domination, but through cooperation. For the first time in Terran history, they would stand as equals among the stars. And as the shuttle pulled away from the Nexus Tribunal, Aria allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy was about to change and Terra Prime was ready to lead the way.